After this city was devastated by a Category 5 tornado, a deadly new threat came in its wake. While the residents of Joplin, Missouri surveyed the damage caused by the deadliest US tornado since 1947, they couldn't have known that it was just the beginning. Yes, yet another deadly threat lay just around the corner. On May 22, 2011, the city of Joplin was hit by a massive EF5 tornado. And while Joplin may lie slap bang in the middle of Tornado Alley, the power and destruction caused by this twister was nothing the residents of the city had ever seen before then. The words of the people spoke volumes. "We went outside to look, and it was so wide, it looked like a thunderstorm." One eyewitness told CNN, "There was no funnel, it wasn't even raining." Almost a full mile wide, the monster tornado hit land west of the city before tearing through its streets. Chaos was left in the storm's wake. Indeed, raging at speeds of 200 miles per hour, this twister was so powerful that nothing could withstand its force. Unsurprisingly, the extent of the damage to the city was colossal. Nearly 8,000 homes and 500 businesses were either damaged or destroyed. Beyond that, a debris field of more than 3 million cubic yards was left behind. But far more devastating was the number of townspeople who lost their lives. No less than 158 people died, and another 1,100 sustained injuries. A further 9,000, meanwhile, were displaced. But there was more to come. Following the disaster, a new threat emerged, and it was baffling to doctors. While treating the injured following the storm, doctors noticed something strange in a handful of their patients. Some of their wounds were turning black, and there were other anomalies too. Before we continue with the rest of the video, we could use your help. Click that like button to help spread the word about watchJojo, and also be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future videos. Indeed, the dark wounds began to sprout mold. Soon, fuzzy white filaments, similar to those you'd find growing on a rotten loaf of bread, were emanating from the patients' bodies and spreading fast. Immediately then, the doctors began to investigate. Now, before the mold appeared, medics had thought the strange discoloration was caused by a bacterial infection. But when antibiotics didn't work and the filaments grew, samples were taken to the lab, and what experts found was utterly astonishing. In fact, 13 townspeople had been infected by a fungus called Apopocymosis trapeziformis. The strain is incredibly rare and is hardly ever found in humans. However, as fascinating as it might be, this phenomenon could quickly be lethal. Prior to the outbreak in Joplin, a mere 74 cases of the fungal infection had ever been reported in humans. But this latest spate in the already reeling tornado-struck town was to prove tragic. Later, of the 13 people infected, 5 would go on to lose their lives. As for the nature of the fungus itself, well, it lives in the soil. A saprobe, it usually survives by eating dead plants, parasites, and other fungi. And while it shouldn't normally infect humans, the speeds at which it traveled during the tornado effectively injected it directly into human flesh. Apopocymosis trapeziformis grows phenomenally quickly as well. Once in a petri dish, a single spore can, within a couple of hours, create enough mold to lift the lid off. Furthermore, disturbingly, the same process takes place when the fungus attacks the human body. When it comes into contact with human tissue, the fungus works its way through the walls of blood vessels. Soon it creates clots that will kill skin tissues and erupt within a mass of white filaments. Of course, this is exactly what the doctors had seen in Joplin. Subsequently, the survivors of the outbreak were given antifungal drugs, but the only way to completely remove the infection was through a process called debridement, whereby the dead flesh was cut away. Thankfully, at least, it worked for those who had not already succumbed. Unfortunately for all those infected, it appears to have been a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. While the tornado raged, they were all in the zone where the twister caused the most destruction, and reached the epic speeds capable of transferring the fungus to humans. Now, after the tornado and the discovery of the fungus, search teams carried out a sweep of the area, and interestingly, as it turned out, they found no trace of Apopocymosis anywhere in the scene. So, what of the fungus's origins amid this catastrophe? Well, there are 2 theories as to how it got there in the first place. The first theory is that as it touched down, the tornado disturbed a single source containing a number of strains of Apopocymosis. Then some say, as it careened through the streets of the city, it deposited the spores along the way. On the other hand, some scientists believe the tornado could have swept over a number of sources on its destructive course, Again, the power of the storm would have dispersed the material at speeds fast enough for it to penetrate the skin. Probably, though, we'll never know exactly what caused the outbreak. Now, the disaster having passed, Joplin is piecing itself back together. In May of 2016, for example, the city organized a 4-day event to remember the tornado and its victims, and to celebrate the incredible progress that the community's made since then. Please don't forget to share this video with your friends below. Please don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell to receive everything that's new.